My name is Raul Duenas. I'm originally from California. I was born and raised there in the Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area. I am a father of four wonderful boys, 17, 16, 13, and 12. I'm a former Marine. I'm a veteran of 6 years in the United States Marine Corps. Plus, I am a world-class hip-hop instructor, and I choreographed and danced for a lot of people over my lifetime. Older groups like Earth, Wind, and Fire. I've worked with Stevie Wonder. I've worked with some boy bands and stuff like that. I still teach hip-hop and Zumba. Dance is my escape. Some people say, when it's raining, everyone takes cover, but, I like to dance in the rain. That might sound a little cheesy, but you just gotta dance. For me, I have to dance. It's my life. It's my happy space. So I just, my number one priority in my life is just raising my kids and making sure they're healthy and fed and clean and, just what a parent does, just take care of them and love them.
Hi, my name's Claire Indergakura Granger now, actually. I have two kiddos. One is Olivia Dietz, and this is Soren Granger. I moved back to Lawrence. Lived here as a kid for a while until I went into foster care. And then I actually came back because I wanted to live here as soon as I knew that I was having a child. I loved the community and I wanted to be a part of it. And so I do a lot of things just within the community and for myself. I have Claire's Community Closet, and that's just helping with people in need, the homeless, the houseless, anybody who really needs something. I think it's really important to live in such a way where we take care of others because other people are also going to take care of us. It all leans on each other and makes me feel good. It all comes back to you somehow.
I'm Cassidy Caranta. I've lived in Lawrence for going on 12 years now. I'm an artist professionally and own my own business here. I'm a new mother, and I absolutely love what I've been able to find in Lawrence in the 12 years of being here. My art has always been like a sense of therapy for me. When I was growing up, I would lock myself in the room and just grab whatever I could find and draw. My mom was an artist, and I definitely got that from her. Being an artist and now being a mom has really gone hand in hand. I talk about him as he's my best creation yet, my favorite work of art. And he just is the happiest thing. Things are weird sometimes, but he doesn't seem as affected by that. He seems to still know that he's safe and has, love and is surrounded by all this warmth in his life.
So growing up, we did have to utilize services. My mom was very prideful, and so that is something I do get from her because, she always had a way to make ends meet. Or if she didn't right away, she figured out how. And so that's the same way I am. I'm very capable, I'm very adaptable, and I just make things happen. And so not being able to make stuff happen for myself sometimes is very frustrating. And I had to put a lot of my pride away because we needed help. It's not just me anymore. It's also my husband and this relationship and family that I want and a life that I want to live.
From a sociological perspective, you feel a bit of shame. There's some masculinity, ego in there, I have to go get food and I feel ashamed. And, we financially, we were struggling at one point, and I went to a food pantry there, and it was like night and day compared to just food here. It just felt like everyone was just judgy and just kind of, just judgmental, and that fed into my male ego going, I shouldn't be here. I don't want a handout, I don't look at it as a handout, it's a hand up, just like any kind of public service or public help. It's until you get back on your feet, we're here to help you. It's just real people like myself that have families, and we just want to be able to, to feed our families and to take care of them. And
I think a lot of food pantries, I remember I had gone to a couple with some friends when I was growing up, and they're very sanitary, almost this walk in line, this is how it has to be, you have to be on your best behavior. And when I go into Just Food, I see people cracking jokes and being silly and messing with oh, this is a weird looking apple or that kind of stuff, where it feels like we're all here for the same reason and we can celebrate that instead of feeling some sort of shame about having to go to a food pantry or whatever.
So one of the first times I actually used Just Food, it came after having a traumatizing experience somewhere else. And eventually I just decided not to go to that food pantry anymore, which was really upsetting because I needed food. I had a young child, my first child at the time. And, it felt really great to be able to go somewhere where it felt safe after having that experience. After the pandemic had calmed down a little bit, I really needed help and I really needed support and food. And so I had talked to the director at the time and she was like, "Oh, we deliver." And I was like, "Yes." I honestly started crying because it was like, that saved some of my pride to be able to say, we can help you and you don't have to feel, I don't know, you don't have to feel poor again. And we'll just make sure it comes to you discreetly in a brown box at your home.
When COVID first hit, I was working at the bottleneck in wheat fields, and being in the service industry, everything shut down. And as COVID went on, things got more expensive. There was more uncertainty. One of the things that really pushed me to go there was when I got pregnant. As soon as you're pregnant, it's no longer just you that you're worrying about for 9 months and then for the rest of your kid's life.
After COVID hit, I was being laid off and I was having trouble getting work and kind of off and on. So that's when I reached out to Just Food. I was always worried about where we're going to get food and how am I going to pay bills and buy food. So it has always been that safety net, if you will. I say a lifesaver, but I say it's a game changer. It really gives you that extra peace of mind. So I utilized the cruising cupboard when I came back, when I needed Just Food again. And I had gotten a message via text saying that it was going to be in my neighborhood. And I felt like a kid because it felt like an ice cream truck. You're like, hey, and you get some really good stuff. And it's a cool mobile version of the Just Food building, but just on wheels. But I experienced the same freshness. I experienced the same quality. I experienced the same kindness from the staff, too, that I would get at the actual main building.
Being able to use Just Food as a resource for basic needs is really important and been really helpful. If you have your basic needs covered, it takes a lot of the stress away from being able to manage and cope in life with everything else that you have going on. My mom had a lot of issues with making sure, she had 4 mouths to feed as a single mother. And she had a lot of issues with making sure the lights would stay on or the electricity. Those are things that my daughter will never have to experience. But it does really help when you can lean on services like Just Food or just any of the other community resources that we have.
It's such an amazing place, and the community and just seeing all the different walks of life. I love seeing everybody's children running around. The best thing and the most helpful thing is once a month you're able to get diapers and wipes. And knowing that I have that there to be able to not have to worry about that for a little bit has really saved me a lot of stress. There's some times where you just get kind of busy with life and you're like, oh crap, I just ran out of diapers. What am I going to do? And I haven't had that moment happen yet. So one of the kind of side gifts that I've gotten from Just Food is saving a lot of time and worry. And in having that time, I have more time to spend with my son, which at the end of the day is the only thing I want to be doing. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be able to grow with him and teach him more about cooking once he's a little bit more able to help me in the kitchen and not just being a little happy observer.
I don't know if other parents do this, but after breakfast, I'm already thinking about dinner. And that's always been a special part of my culture and my family is the dinner time, and I would always see how hard my mom would work to make sure that dinner was great and everything was so good, homemade tortillas, homemade salsa. I try to shield them from that, as far as if there is there's not enough or I'm worrying about it. I don't let them know. I just kind of say, don't worry about it, because I know with Just Food, there is enough food. When I go for my weekly, I plan it out and I plan out the meals and I can make $1 out of 15 cents, as they say. I learned that from my mother. She would hardly have anything in the fridge and somehow she'd make something miraculous. And so I take after my mom like that, just whip it together, and the kids are like, how did you put this together? Like, I didn't realize we had all this food. I'm like, well, you just kind of got to get creative. It's a great time, and it's great to be able to sit down with the family and have food and not stress about food. It's a calming time. It's a sense of peace.
I think it's very important to be transparent with your kids. I think it's very important for them to know like real life. Um, they need to know that it can be hard to pay bills. I don't think that she should have to feel the struggle. I want her to see and know that our whole world is okay. This is just what we have to do as adults, or this is just what you have to do to function, as a human.
I don't plan to ever shield my child from any of the community services. I don't plan on leaving Lawrence anytime soon, and he will be old enough to, go there and be able to ask questions. Be like, Mom, where are we going? I'm like, going to Just Food. And I want him to know that there doesn't need to be any feelings of needing to hide any of this, that it is okay to ask for help. I think asking for help actually shows your true strength.
I have these tattoos. This one says Veritas, which means truth. And this one is Equitas, which means, it has a dual meaning. It's justice, but it also means equity. They really make me feel, at Just Food, they make me feel like I matter, that I'm important, and that, nobody should go hungry, especially children. So they tip that Equitas, they tip that scale.
The community is here to help. Lawrence does feel like somewhere that you can be yourself and not need to feel scared for those ups and downs that happen in life. Being able to access Just Food and being able to grow those relationships gives me confidence about how his life is going to be outside of the home. I think that's the biggest fear that first-time moms have is, oh my God, I never want to let you go. I never want you to be exposed to the world, but you're going to have to let them go and have those experiences so that they can become their own person. Right at the end of my pregnancy is when all the stuff in Ukraine was happening. And I remember watching the Grammys, and the president had a very, very beautiful speech talking about how music has brought everybody together. And I went down and picked up my son, who had just been down to bed, and I just cried and held him and had this absolute deep worry of what's going to happen next. And being able to wake up the next morning and go to Just Food and get groceries made me feel like it will be okay. I am thankful for this.
Something someone else told me the other day was that she sees, a parent making things happen. And that actually made me feel really good, because that's something that's really important to me about myself, being capable, making things happen, not having to worry as much. And so knowing that sorry. Just knowing deep down my daughter can have pride in her own mom, and that she's going to be able to embody that without needing to search for it. She just has that. And I didn't get a lot of things I needed growing up, and I did get a lot of things from my mom that make me who I am, but there are a lot of things that I didn't get. And that's just one of those things when you're passing on almost I guess a legacy to your kid. I mean, being able to put food on the table, being able to make sure that your kid is fed and, can go out and do whatever fun activities, just because I may not have the money for, or even I may not be able to get up and go to the grocery store that day because of my depression. Just Food made it possible. We've got our food. So okay, basic needs are covered. Community has made sure we have some fun. And then that's it. That's how you live. That's how you live well. And so to be able to give my child a well-balanced life, I mean, that's everything. What else can you ask for?